This episode is all about the many roles of a business broker when selling your business in the Canadian market and what to look for when choosing one to work with.
Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This is a special series all about selling your business in the Canadian market. Joining me on this segment is our guest expert, Jim Nairn. He's an expert business broker with Sunbelt Business Brokers. Jim, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Jim, I know this is a broad topic, so to kick it off, can you kind of give us kind of a summary of the value of working with a business broker rather than trying to do it all yourself?
Indeed. Well, there's a few different people that have tried to do this over the years, and there's been a varying number of roles, shall we say, that some people suggest that we do on an average basis when working with our clients. But typically, the list that I've put together here, in conjunction with working off of other people's lists, is I've narrowed it down to roughly 30 different roles that I do both as a business owner and as a business broker, because I own a part of the office here in Kingston as well. So it's there's dual roles, shall we say, that can happen between both that are actually pretty common.
So, Jim, to kick this all off, let's start with sort of like a myth or misconception, because don't a lot of business owners think that it's as simple as just like selling a home, but there are 30 roles. Is that what people believe, that it's a lot easier to sell a business?
Yeah, some people definitely have the misconception that, it's just a matter of a quick, okay, let's sit down. Within a couple hours, we should be able to hammer out all of the all of the necessary things, and then just give it to the lawyers, and then it'll be done with. Everything will be finished. Unfortunately, there's a lot more work that is involved in the process, and as we've discussed in other interviews, is that the process can take upwards of anywhere from the shortest term I've worked with was 3 months, and then the longest term would be like a 18 to 24 months of time it takes to go through it and get a business potentially sold. So within that, there's a whole myriad of roles that gets to be played, from initially starting off as a business consultant and a business valuator. So getting the business owner to understand the value of where the market sees the value of their business today. So that is brings into the role some research and some accounting, some bookkeeping, and sometimes some software consulting that we get to do to try to marry everything up, inventory management and the like. So taking a look at their cash flows or their balance sheets for the previous 24 months, to help understand the ebbs and flows and seasonality of the business. And there's just that part alone can take a couple months. It could be rather intensive, and probably in of itself implies about anywhere from 3 to 5 different typical positions that are out there in the market.
Yeah, now I know there are over 30 roles that you play. So let's unpack just like the biggest ones. What else is like a really big role that a business broker plays in helping a business owner sell their business?
So quite often it can be an administrator slash HR person. There's a couple, but these are some of the initial ones, whereby we will help a business owner understand that and to get organized with their internal systems. So getting the ownerships of their vehicles up to date, getting their insurance policies up to date, getting their WSIB statements and claims and all that other kind of stuff, getting all that organized and ready to go. And making sure that their employee files are up to date as well, because we need to get all that stuff sorted out in preparation for the due diligence process, if and when we get to that point. So There's a lot of sort of prep work that we do in the initial stages of preparing a business to go to market that prepares it for the later stages so that there's less work to do later on. You're doing it a lot sort of front loaded, if you will, and just being able to coordinate all of that. And once I have a series of about 6 or 8, depending on the nature of the business, 6 or 8 different emails asking for various levels of information on the business that are pre-templated in my mail server, ready to go for when a client signs up. It says, okay, now your work starts. So here's all the stuff that the information that I'm going to need, on top of more information that comes that's going to be needed after that.
Do you ever run into a business owner that tries to sell their business on their own and then they get quickly overwhelmed and then call you for help? Does that happen?
It certainly does. Actually, I'm working with one right now. They initially tried to sell their business to 3 or 4 people on their own, and it unfortunately never went anywhere for them. So they soon realized that, yeah, you know what, maybe I need to come and see someone to get some professional help. And actually, we're just negotiating on an offer for them right now. It's only been up on the market for less than 2 months. So I've got an initial offer going, and then somebody waiting in the wings to come in and step in should that not come to fruition. So that's that's another part of what we do is advertising and marketing and doing all of that kind of stuff, as well as vetting the prospective buyers and whatnot. So we develop a lot of specific content that is unique for the business and help package the business and present it in a manner that is attractive to a new owner and helps them envision themselves stepping in and taking over the business so that they can, get a sense and a feeling pretty quickly as to whether or not this is something that could be a good fit for them.
What typically triggers a seller that's trying to sell their business on their own to say, okay, you know what, I need to get some help? What really overwhelms them? What is it that gets them in the mud?
So sometimes it's just a sheer manner of what they don't know. So oftentimes the people are just going to ask them for, okay, they're always, the first question that buyers ask is, give me your financials. Well, I don't want to give you my financials. Well, I'm not going to do anything if you don't give them to me. So they have that conversation. Whereas with us, we have a very stringent process that we follow for making sure that, again, we have a non-disclosure agreement in place before we share any extra information. And we set out the fact that pretty early on that no financials details will be provided until after they've met with the seller and the seller approves them. So they pass a pre-qualification stage first with us, and then should they pass that, then they get potentially a meeting with the business owner, and then from there the business owner says, yeah, you know what, I got a pretty decent feeling, let's share some more information with them and see where this can go. So sometimes just if they're out trying to advertise a business for sale on their own or spreading the word, just dealing with all the different tire kickers is a huge waste of their time. And that's, part of the service that we offer is helping to vet that ahead of time.
It sounds like a time-consuming process, and with all the inquiries coming in, it's almost like a second job for them. Is that what typically happens? It's like really takes them away from their business.
So quite often it will take up a lot of their time because, again, they just don't know when to stop or how much information they should actually be giving away, and that's not their normal job, is to try to sell their business. Their normal job is to run the business, maintain operations, and all that kind of stuff. So they don't really have that understanding of what's the best information to share when and that kind of thing. So that's why with our services, getting all of that work sort of front end loaded and having our process followed, it makes their job and their workload much easier. There's still a lot of work involved for them to do, but the process is much easier just simply because of my experience and my peers and our expertise in managing and working in the process for them.
Before we wrap up, Are there any other, big important roles that you see the business broker play in selling a business that we haven't talked about?
One of the biggest ones is being, almost being the business owner's best friend, and the amount of communication and volume that flows. It's a very regular and consistent. It's almost like I've made this analogy before. It's almost like we're dating, where we're just in contact so much. It's like a lot of texting, a lot of emails back and forth about, okay, what's this information? Where's that? No, this person hasn't responded yet, or whatever the case may be. That for probably the first 3 to 6 months of the process, where the communications are fairly strong and heavy throughout that. So we get a chance to build that rapport and that relationship and that understanding, so that as we're going through the process and we start the negotiation and due diligence, we're able to have a full or a relatively full understanding of the motivations of the business owner, so that when we are trying to help negotiate things, we can present their side of the story in the best light possible to help make the negotiations go as smoothly as possible. So that's a big thing for us, is being a mediator, a negotiator, a peer, basically a friend, confidant, if you will. Sometimes we hear that their life stories and some deep dark secrets that's happened in the business or their personal life along the way, but that's all part of the confidential and just, again, the nature of the relationship that gets to be formed.
Jim, for business owners in the Canadian market that are considering selling their business, if they would like to get your help, how do they connect with you and learn more?
Yeah, so I'm available all over the internet. I'm on our website would be sunbeltcanada.com/kingston.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn and the International Business Brokers and M&A Source Associations, as well as the International Business Brokers of Canada. Just search the name Jim Nairn, and you should be able to find all different kinds of ways to get in touch with me. Just look for the guy with the hat, and there's a good chance it's me.
Jim, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you sharing all of your knowledge in this terrific series with my audience, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you and everyone out there has an amazing rest of the day.
That was Jim Nairn, business broker expert with Sunbelt Business Brokers. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining us on this special series.